How is it going, everybody? This is RBT, and it's time for another college football season, and that means the start of my college football weekly predictions, just like I did last year. So I'm excited, guys, and something that's a little bit different for me this year is that I actually have a radio show that I actually record for the first time tomorrow. That's pretty much the same exact thing that I'm doing right now. I'm previewing and predicting just about every single game in college football for the upcoming week. So this will actually help me get a mindset of what's actually going to take place that I'm talking about tomorrow. So it's like I'm doing this twice, which is good. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm excited for the 2013 season. It's 6 days away, and I've seriously been waiting for months and months and months, and it's about gosh dang time is all I gotta say. So, like you know, if you're new to my channel, these videos are just really chill, just going through all the games, previewing them, and predicting them. I mean, it's obvious some have a little bit more preview than others. So, let's get started. I'm reading this straight off the ESPN page, just like always. First game, Thursday night. First game of the college football season. North Carolina at number 6, South Carolina. The Battle of the Carolinas. This could be a tough game for South Carolina. I mean, we know South Carolina led by defensive end Jadeveon Clowney, the best player in the country, and according to Mark Richt, best player in the world. But South Carolina does not need to overlook North Carolina. I'm sure they're not. But they have some talented players of their own. Brenner, their quarterback, might be the most underrated quarterback in the whole entire country. And that's a huge statement. He put up great numbers last year. He has good receivers. They did lose Giovanni Bernard to the NFL. He left early for the draft, so the run game might be a question mark, but I'm sure they have a couple guys that'll step in and play very well. Because under Larry Fedora, they're going to have a very good offense. They had a very good offense under Butch Jones before Larry Fedora. And Larry Fedora brings a new offense his second year here. They actually played good last season. They would have made it to the ACC championship game, but they were ineligible for postseason play last season. But they have players all over that field that's NFL talent. They really do. But South Carolina has a great defense. They really do. And they have two really good quarterbacks on their own in Connor Shaw and Dylan Thompson. Dylan Thompson's more the drop back guy. Connor Shaw more the athletic guy who poses the threat to run. But I mean, I think we all know that Connor Shaw is going to be a starter. But if he struggles, we have a guy like they have a guy like Dylan Thompson who can come in and play really well. So I think when it comes down to it, it comes to defense. I think, like I said, North Carolina might have the better quarterback overall in this game. But overall, SEC depth, SEC team, North Carolina's going to make it really close. I think North Carolina could have the lead at halftime and have the lead late into the game because they're a very, very good team. But I think the SEC defense, SEC style play wears down North Carolina, and South Carolina gets a touchdown victory by the end of the game. Let's go 31-24, South Carolina over North Carolina in this game. Next game, Liberty at Kent State. Kent State, two of the best running backs in the country returning this year. Dree Archer and Travion Durham, two completely different backs that both ran for 1,000 yards last season. They should have no problem in this game. They're replacing a new quarterback, or replacing their quarterback from last season, but the quarterback wasn't much of a factor last year because they ran the ball like crazy last year. So they should win this game 35-10 over Liberty. Wake Forest and Presbyterian. Wake Forest, I think they play Presbyterian about every year, and they beat them by a good bit every year. Wake Forest, I have them as a dark horse in the ACC, not necessarily to win, but to compete and pull a few upsets this season. Wake Forest, no problem in this game. Say Wake Forest 31, Presbyterian 10. Indiana State of Indiana. Indiana State's not a bad ball team. They, if I'm not mistaken, I could be. They played Indiana and played very close last year, and I could be completely wrong there. I'm trying to load this really quick so I can be sure of that. And I can't because it's not here. So I might as well say and disregard that because I could be wrong. But anyways, Indiana, they're gonna have, over the next few years, they're going to improve, not be the laughing stock of the Big Ten anymore. I'm not sure if they can get back top 10 in the country like they were in the early 2000s, but they're going to get better. They have a high-potent offense. They're throwing the ball all across the field. They're getting some talent there. New fresh coaching's getting them better. I remember watching that the reveal of their new uniforms and all the players reacted to it. That was awesome. But Indiana should have no problem. I believe they're getting better. They're getting up there, and they should win this game by 30. No, let's go by 27. Let's go 37 to 10. Indiana over Indiana State. Minnesota and UNLV. This could be a struggle for Minnesota. Minnesota tends to struggle early on in the season, and they play these easy out of conference games, but they tend to play to their talent level of the opponent. UNLV is not a bad team by any means. They have a pretty good quarterback there, stable running backs, but the Big Ten depth, I think, ends up getting the W for Minnesota. Very close. I'm gonna go 27 to 20 Minnesota over UNLV. Tulsa at Bowling Green. This could be a pretty good matchup because both teams are challengers in their respective divisions. I mean, Bowling Green, a team that can win the MAC. Tulsa, a team that can win the Conference USA. They have really good quarterbacks there, talent on offense, and what's always surprised me is how Tulsa always tends to have really good teams because they have the lowest enrollment rate, I believe, in all of college football. On Division I level, I think they have like 3,000 students, so that's crazy. But anyways, I believe Tulsa will get the win here. They're just be a better team, I believe, better quarterback. Both quarterbacks are good. I think Tulsa gets a W. High scoring game. I'm gonna go Tulsa 37 to 34 over Bowling Green, close game. Illinois State at Ball State. Illinois State at Ball State. Honestly, don't know too much about Illinois State. But with Ball State being a MAC team, a team that's actually predicted to be a challenger in the MAC this season, they have a quarterback that's one of the best in the conference, Keith Winning, who's, like I said, is very, very good, has some talented wide receivers. They should win this game. Let's go by 20. Let's go 34 to 14 over Illinois State. Akron at Central Florida. Akron has lost 11 games the last 3 seasons. Central Florida is actually a talented team. First season as a BCS program. And that's going to be short-lived because that ends after the season. But they're in the American Athletic Conference, and they're still considered a BCS conference. So UCF, a really, really good quarterback in Brian Bortles, might be he could be battling for that second or third best quarterback spot in the American Athletic Conference. But Akron's not a good team. They're going to get better though with Terry Bowden at head coach. But right now, no match for Central Florida. Central Florida should win this game. Let's go. Let's go 42 to 14 over Akron. Southern Utah at South Alabama. I'll be going to this game more than likely. And, man, I've got riled up about this because the Vegas line actually has South Alabama losing this game by 3 points. And that's ridiculous. Southern Utah is a team that went 5-6 last year as an FCS program. And they had a quarterback who got drafted into the NFL. The 7th round of the NFL to the San Diego Chargers. His name is Brad Sorensen. And if you're a team like Southern Utah, you do not get NFL talent often, especially at the quarterback position. So if you go 5-6 with an NFL quarterback and you lose them, I don't think you're going to be much better. I think last year South Alabama could have beat them. This year they're going to beat them by even more. We have 31 to 14 South Alabama over Southern Utah. Very easy victory. If you're somebody that bets on games. It's still -3. It might have changed since the last time I saw it. It was about 2 or 3 weeks ago I saw it. But if you're somebody that bets on money, I'd be willing to bet $1 million on that. Towson at Connecticut. Lyle McComb's great running back. They should win this game by easy 3 touchdowns. I don't know, 37 to 14 over Towson. Middle Tennessee, Western Carolina at Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee actually has a quarterback that's very underrated. Nobody knows him about. His name is Logan Kilgore. A very good quarterback. He could help Middle Tennessee State be. Are they just Middle Tennessee now? Because from what I remember, they used to be Middle Tennessee, and now they're just everywhere I look. They're just called Middle Tennessee. So I'm not sure. But anyways, he could help them be contenders in the Conference USA their first year in the conference. But they should have no problem with Western Carolina. They should put up some definite points. Let's go 42 to 10. No, let's go 42-17 over Western Carolina. Utah State at Utah. This is going to be an upset prediction for me. Utah State's going to be a very, very talented team this year. Chucky Keaton comes back, one of the most underrated and best unheard of quarterbacks in the country. If he was on an FBS level team, he could be a Heisman contender definitely. And they have talent there at Utah State. I know Gary Anderson left them from Wisconsin, but they have talent left behind, and they're going to be a heck of a team. Might actually win the Mountain West this year. They're a dark horse. I don't know if they'd even be considered a dark horse to win the conference. But anyways, they should beat Utah close. I mean, Utah, no Pac-12 depth and everything. But I believe they beat Utah. Utah's not as good as they have been back in their Sugar Bowl days when they beat the University of Alabama. But anyways, Utah State, I believe, wins this game by 3 points, by a field goal. 27-24 Utah State over Utah in this game. Just got us 5-1 Red Sox over the Dodgers. Okay. Jackson State at Tulane. Tulane, quick little tidbit for you guys. Tulane's starting quarterback is Nick Montana, the son of Joe Montana, so that's pretty cool. But Tulane, they should have no problem with Jackson State. Tulane, I had to do predictions for South Alabama for the paper. Tulane actually has some pretty good talented players there. They actually have an LSU transfer and a couple of other transfers who are potentially going to be very good along that defense for Tulane. So Tulane, no problem, 17-point victory, 27-10 over Jackson State. Oh, and here we go. Ole Miss at Vandy. Oh my gosh, this is the hardest game to predict for me pretty much for this week. Both these, I'm trying to make this quick. I don't want to make this long. I gotta make out my radio show to be 60 minutes tomorrow, but I need to make this quicker. But Ole Miss and Vanderbilt, I had preseason potentially dark horses for their respective divisions in the SEC. With that said, it sucks because the one that loses this game is pretty much knocked out of that discussion. And both these teams are a heck of a teams, and just unfortunately they got matched up against each other week 1. And it's so hard to pick a team. I could see both teams winning very easily. Ole Miss, a heck of a team. Bo Wallace coming back. All the prize recruits they got. Hugh Freeze has them definitely in the right direction. They're a definite dark horse this year. When I say dark horse, I mean it in the terms of a team that isn't likely to win the conference, but has a slim chance, and they have the potential to upset the top teams in the conference. That's what I mean. That's my term of dark horse. I mean, they could win the conference, but it's very slim. They have the possibility out there. With that said, I think Ole Miss has the most talent, but for some reason I keep leaning to Vanderbilt. James Franklin, that defense is supposed to be very good this season at home. And they're still unsure on their quarterback situation. I remember watching Austin Carter-Samuels as a freshman playing in a bowl game. He was actually at Wyoming then, and he led them to the first bowl game in I don't even know how many years. And he was a true freshman starting, and he played very well that game. He could run the ball. At the time, his throwing wasn't his throwing ability as a quarterback wasn't developed as you'd expect a freshman from Wyoming. But I'm sure over the past couple of years he's improved. And if he is the starter for Vanderbilt, I believe he'll be better than Jordan Rodgers. I was never a fan of Jordan Rodgers. But a good running back at Vanderbilt as well, Brian Kimbrough. He could end up being a really good, one of the top running backs in the SEC over the next few years. But anyways, I'm going to go with Vanderbilt. Very close. That's, for some reason, on paper, I think Ole Miss can win, but my heart's telling me Vanderbilt. I'm going to go Vanderbilt 30-27 Vandy over Ole Miss. Sacramento State at San Jose State. San Jose State has one of the most underrated not underrated, but one of the most best unheard of quarterbacks in the country. And I've already said that a lot. But David Bales, remember him? He could be a top pick in the draft this upcoming season. Great quarterback. San Jose State quietly had a great season last year. They had 11 wins. They bring in a coach from San Jose State because their coach from they brought in a coach from San Diego. Their coach last season left and took the job at Colorado. And they still have talent. They should win this game easy. San Jose State 42. Sacramento State 14. Okay. Rutgers at Fresno State. Rutgers, I believe, sending a text message here. Rutgers, they're still a good team. In my American Athletic Conference preview video, got a lot of hate for having them lower down in the conference that I usually do, and that a lot of people expected. They're still going to be a good team, but for some reason, Rutgers doesn't bring back a lot of players from last season. Lost their running back to the NFL, lost some linemen, a lot of their defense, their star linebacker, lost him to the NFL. They do bring back their wide receiver, whose name is slipping out of my mind, but he's a top prospect out of the, for the wide receiver position in next year's NFL draft. And Gary Nova comes back, their quarterback. But aside from that, it's not too much. It really isn't. And Fresno State, much like San Jose State, had a great season last year and bring back a quarterback that's NFL prospect. It could be a top quarterback picked in the draft next year. Even the next year's draft is going to be such a deep quarterback laden draft. But playing at Fresno State at night, 9:30, which would be a what was that, a 10:30 start for Rutgers, what they're normally used to because they're on the East Coast. It's going to be a tricky game for Rutgers, and his name is David Carr, by the way, the quarterback from Fresno State, who's very, very talented, threw for a ton of yards last year. But I'm going to go Fresno State 31-28 over Rutgers in an upset win, very close. And next, how long is this video already? I do not want this video to be really, really long. Already at 16 minutes, and I haven't even got past the Thursday night games yet, so I gotta make this quick. USC at Hawaii. I could definitely see USC struggling in this game. They're starting. Their two quarterbacks. Names with my mind. I just saw it earlier. They're splitting time in this game. Both of them are going to play, and that's not a good thing. That's a tricky thing, and that can only lead to bad things. But luckily, they're playing Hawaii, who in 2007, if this was the case, the same USC team, same situation, I could see Hawaii winning that game. But they've dropped off so much. Colt Brennan days are over. Norm Chow's in, and he completely changed their offense to a pro style, and it's not going to work. If you're a team like Hawaii, you got to be a gimmicky offense to have success. And it ain't flying with Norm Chow head coach. USC, even with their quarterback situation being what it is, they're going to win easy. Cody Sessler and Max Wittick. That's the names. It just hopped in my head. But USC, they should win this game. It can be tricky, but I'm still giving them a 17-point victory. 37. No, let's go 34-17 over Hawaii. And Hawaii might not even score that many points. Moving on to the Friday games. Morgan State at Army. Army tends to lose games like this against lower level teams at least once a year, but I can't predict that. I just can't. But Army should win this game. I'm gonna give it a close victory though. I'm gonna go 24-14 Army over Morgan State. Sanford at Georgia State. This is hard to predict because I know Sanford's now is an FCS team. Georgia State's an FBS team, but Georgia State was awful last year. They're by far the worst team in the country. That's an FBS level team. And they might be one of the worst FCS level teams because that's an FCS level team last year. They went 1-11. That's awful. And it's not just losses that they got. They got absolutely destroyed in those games. So it's hard to predict this type of game. But let me, I don't know why. Just based on the fact that Georgia State was so awful last year. And it's not going to be much better. They do bring back a lot of players, but it's not players that were on a successful team. But let me give Stanford the victory. I don't know. Well, Stanford the victory. I don't know much about Stanford, but I just know that Georgia State's bad. Really, really bad. Let me go Stanford. Stanford 27, Georgia State 24 in this game. Western Michigan at Michigan State. Western Michigan, one of the worst. Well, they tend to have that type of offense with the quarterback that can throw for a ton of yards. Michigan State, the highlight of their team this year is the defense. Their defense is going to be absolutely great. 7 returning starters from a defense that was really, really good last season. The quarterback situation is a bit of a ooh, somebody's about to hit a home run. It's a bit of a toss-up right now. Andrew Maxwell's probably going to be a starter. And Connor Cook, more the athletic type quarterback, even though he's not really athletic, but he has better legs than Andrew Maxwell. He's battling for some time, but I think it'll end up going to Andrew Maxwell. But Anyways, the pass offense last season for Michigan State was terrible. Had really bad receivers. Bring back 9 guys of offense. I don't know if that's really a good thing or a bad thing, but I mean, truthfully, it is a good thing. They bring back experience. So I have Michigan State actually winning their division in the Big Ten. So they should have no problem with Western Michigan. Let me go 31-7 Michigan State over West. No, let's go 31-3 Michigan State over Western Michigan. Florida Atlantic at Miami. Miami is my dark horse to win the ACC this season. Talented offense. Duke Johnson, one of the best running backs in the country. Stephen Morris, pro-style type quarterback. Brought in the offensive coordinator from Florida State last season. Going to run more of that pro-style deep passing attack offense. Run the ball twice. Then hit them downfield for a long pass. And they have some good receivers as well. Florida Atlantic, first year in the USA. I don't believe we'll be able to compete with Miami. Let's give Miami a 28-point victory here. I'm feeling it 38-10 Miami over Florida Atlantic. Texas Tech at SMU. This could be a tricky game for Texas Tech. First game for head coach Cliff Kingsbury on a Friday night at SMU. Garrett Gilbert, the transfer from Texas, is still there. June Jones' offense, air raid offense. I'm not sure how good Texas Tech's defense is going to be this season. And an air raid offense versus a defense that has question marks everywhere. I believe Texas Tech's offense will be very good progressively with Cliff Kingsbury. But I can't see Texas Tech losing this game. I believe it'll be extremely, extremely close, a lot closer than the experts think. But I'm going to go Texas Tech. A high-scoring game, 41-38 over 41-38 over SMU. Southern University at Houston. Houston was kind of disappointing last season, but now they're in the American Athletic Conference. A fresh start. But they should, with the talent they got, they should have no problem with Southern University. Houston 45, Southern University 20. North Dakota State at Kansas State. This could be a tricky game. North Dakota State tends to be the best team in all the FCS level out of all the FCS level programs. A very talented team down there. They've won a couple of national championships in the recent years. And Kansas State bringing back only 2 starters, I believe, from last year's defense. Lost Colin Klein. Daniel Sams might be the start. It's probably going to be the starting quarterback. Bring back John Hubert. Jermaine Thompson, I believe, left the NFL. Ty Zimmerman, though, that's a good player to bring back on defense. This could be a tricky game. A lot of pieces lost from last year's team. But they did bring up JUCOs like they always do under Bill Snyder. And they'll be a well-coached team playing at home. They can have some early problems. I think North Dakota State will keep it within 7 points within the first half. But Kansas State will pull away in the second half. I believe they'll win by only 14. With 34-20. No, let's go 37-24. 37-24. Kansas State over North Dakota State. Southern Arizona at Arizona. Arizona, as crazy as you might think I am for saying this, is my dark horse to win the national championship. The chances are slim, like 5%, but that's what a dark horse is. Their schedule sets up perfectly. Bring back all of their players off of defense last season. Rich Rodriguez at head coach with the talented offense coming back, which includes Kadeem Carey, the country's leading rusher from a season ago. A new quarterback, but they have some guys that can actually run. They lose Matt Scott, but they still got some guys that can run and throw the football at the quarterback position. They also have a Notre Dame transfer at wide receiver who is seeking immediate eligibility. That would be amazing for them, but they should have no problem. They could score 50 in this game. We go Arizona, 54. Northern Arizona 10. No, Northern Arizona 17 in this game. Okay, moving on to the Saturday games, and this video is probably like 57 minutes long already. 24. Let's try to keep it under 35. I don't know how I used to be able to do these under 20 minutes. Let's try though. Buffalo at Ohio State. Ohio State, no problem in this game. I know they have a weak schedule and some question marks, suspended players first couple weeks, but Braxton Miller, that offense has no problem with Buffalo. Let's go 41 to 14. Ohio State over Buffalo. Ohio State's defense is going to be a weakness, though. They bring back only a couple players off that defense, but they should have no problem. 41-14. Massachusetts at Wisconsin. Massachusetts, one of the worst teams in the FBS level. Wisconsin's first game with head coach Gary Anderson, so that's going to be interesting. But Wisconsin, no problem in this game. They'll run the ball. James White at running back. Jared Abernathy on the outside. Talented defense once again. They're looking for their fourth straight Rose Bowl, something like that. Fifth straight Rose Bowl. I'm not sure, but no problem. Wisconsin, 38-7 over UMass. Elon at Georgia Tech. Enough said, but that Paul Johnson offense will shine in this game, and they should score over 40. I'll go 45-10 over Elon. Georgia Tech over Elon. Villanova at Boston College. Boston College is another dark horse to compete for the ACC from this season. Some experts have them losing 8 games. I have them at least winning 8. Had that flipped. But Villanova should not be a problem for Boston College. They actually bring back some good pieces off their offense last season. First-year head coach, is it Frank Spaziani? The guy coming over from Temple. But they do have some pieces. He's more of an offensive coach. He's the one who was the offensive coordinator under Tim Tebow. Had the Tim Tebow offense at Florida. So that's what type of offense he runs. But so he's not really known as a defensive guy. But he has some good pieces coming back on defense from Boston College. I believe they bring back 10 starters from last season, so it shouldn't be a problem. Boston College wins this game 34-10 over Villanova. William Mary at West Virginia, and this could be a 60-point game, and I'm gonna actually go off the radar and say that West Virginia offense is still going to be amazing under Dana Holgorsen, even though they lost to Tavon Austin, Geno Smith, Stedman Bailey. They still bring back enough guys, and they're going to have a good offense. But they might struggle in the Big 12 this year, but they're still going to have a good offense nonetheless, and they should score 60 on William & Mary. I'm going to go 62-21 in this game. West Virginia over William & Mary. Southern Illinois at Illinois. Illinois tended to struggle in these games, but they're getting better. Have a senior at quarterback, Nathan Schillhouse. Tim Beckman, this is a do or die year this season. He had a bad first year last season, 2-11, or 2-10. Sorry, 2-10. But they should have no problem with Southern Illinois. This might be one of their few wins in the season, but I'm gonna go 31-14 Illinois over Southern Illinois. Purdue at Cincinnati. This is another tricky game. I believe this is really hard. But I believe Purdue goes into Cincinnati and gets upset very closely. I know Tommy Tuberville, I don't believe he was a really bad fit actually for Cincinnati. I really do. But with the players he still has there, kind of like he did Texas Tech, he stayed with the offense that they ran. I believe he did the same thing, take control more of the defense. And I think Cincinnati's defense will improve and the offense will stay the same. They have 2 really good quarterbacks, Brendan Kay and Munchie Legault, and a couple guys on the outside and a really good running back as well. Ralph David Abernathy. Purdue, good team this year. They could be a team to upset a few teams in the Big Ten, but I believe Cincinnati will get a 3-point victory in this game. Really close, 34-31 over Purdue in this game. Toledo at Florida. And Florida, I'm not too sure about Florida this season. Toledo has a high-powered offense. Florida had a great defense last year up into the Louisville game. They actually lost a lot off that defense last season and bring back the starting running backs, some guys on the outside, Jeff Driscoll at quarterback. So their offense, which was terrible last season, should be improved, but that will be kind of evened out and canceled out by the defense being a little worse than last season. But I believe they might struggle with Toledo in the first half, kind of like they did against Louisiana Lafayette and did against Furman last season. But Florida should win this game. Somehow they'll find a way to win. But I'm going to go 28-14, Florida over Toledo. Florida International at Maryland. Maryland will be much improved from last season. And the big reason they lost a lot last year because their quarterback situation, I believe their top 4 quarterbacks were injured last season. Ended up having to convert a linebacker who played a little quarterback in college to quarterback, and they played Their offense was awful, which was expected, but they eked out 3-4 wins last season. So they should be much improved. Their quarterback is actually supposed to be very, very good for the international first year in the USA, but traveling to Maryland, they'll lose. Maryland should win by 17 points, and they go 31 to 14. Maryland over Florida International. Louisiana Tech at North Carolina State. North Carolina State's first game with Dave Dornat, head coach. That's the one who brought Northern Illinois to the BCS Bowl game last season, the Orange Bowl. And I still don't understand why they fired Tom O'Brien, because I don't understand why North Carolina State really expects to have more than 7 wins a season, 7 or 8 wins a season. But with that said, Louisiana Tech was a high potent offense last year, but you know what? They lose a ton from last season. I think they bring back like 4 starters total, some crazy number like that, and including that, they lost their head coach. He took over at Cal, and bring in Skip Holtz, who was fired from South Florida. And with that said, I'm gonna go Louisiana Tech losing this game by 21. I'm gonna go 34-13. North Carolina State over Louisiana Tech. Rice at Texas A&M. Don't let the score fool you about Rice. Rice is going to be a good team this year. They might actually compete for this USA title. But Texas A&M, Johnny Manziel, you know Texas A&M, their offense is insane as always, and they score a ton in these games. But they'll score for 50 easy. I'm going to go 56-17 over Rice. Colgate at Air Force. Enough said. Colgate, the toothpaste. I don't know how toothpaste is supposed to play football. But I'm just kidding. But anyways, Colgate, Air Force wins. Enough said. 31-10 in this game. Mississippi State versus Oklahoma State. This will be a tricky game for both teams. I believe Oklahoma State will win, and reasons being is because Oklahoma State's offense is awesome. Their defense is going to be much improved as well. They're my pick to win the Big 12. And as much as I believe the SEC is better than a lot of these conferences, I don't believe a bottom feeder like Mississippi State can really compete with one of the better teams, if not the best team in the Big 12. I do think they're the best conference, the SEC, but that's idiotic to think something like that. And I think Mississippi State's going to be beaten pretty good. But I do think they'll compete in the first half, but Oklahoma State, they'll come out running in the second half. They'll win, I say, by 2 touchdowns. I'm going to say they might hang 40 on them. I'm going to say 44-30, Oklahoma State over Mississippi State. Temple at Notre Dame. I don't know why, but I've looked at this game for the longest time and had a feeling that Notre Dame was going to struggle. I don't think they do, but for some reason, I have a feeling. So if they do, don't be surprised, because that feeling's been there. But Temple's not a bad team by any means. They're a BCS conference team now. Actually, this is the second season. I don't know why I'm saying that, but they're in the American Athletic now. But Notre Dame, they'll be just fine without Everett Golson. Tommy Rees supposedly supposed to be a lot better than he has been in years past, and he wasn't too terrible. I wasn't a Tommy Rees hater. I don't think he was that bad. He did make a lot of mistakes in the red zone area, threw a lot of picks, but supposedly he's a lot improved. They did lose some star players off of last season. Manti Te'o, Zeke Mata, the running back, a couple of their senior wide receivers, the lineman, and the guy, Stephen Tuitt. Is that who got hurt? And then they bring back Lewis Nix, who's one of my favorite players, actually, outside of Alabama. I don't know why. I guess it's just that number. What is his number? Number 7? Number 9? Jersey. I think it's awesome when defensive linemen have single-digit numbers. I think that's really cool. But anyways, they should win. I'm going a little babbling there, but Notre Dame, they'll win. 31-10 over Temple. I think I've said that score a lot, but that's hitting my mind. Central Michigan at Michigan. Central Michigan is no longer really a competitive team. They were back in the day with Dan Lefevre at head coach, at quarterback. They did beat Iowa last season, so watch out. But they won't beat Michigan. Michigan is moving on up there in the national scale. I think they were overrated last season at the beginning of the year, but they're moving on up there. Little by little, they're becoming a lot more nationally respected as a team. They're just getting a lot of talent. They have a tough schedule this year, but Central Michigan is not going to be one of those tough teams on that tough schedule. But Michigan will win by 30 maybe, 40-10. I got Michigan over Central Michigan. Syracuse versus Penn State. I know last season I was a big basher on Penn State. Thought they were going to be absolutely terrible, and they proved me completely wrong. They had a very successful season, especially for what they had after what they went through. But I think over time, and they can continue to prove me wrong. Over time, they will get worse and worse until the sanctions are lifted, and that's like 4 years away, and they're unsettled on who the quarterback's going to be. They might have named the starter in the last couple of days, but I expect it to be Christian Hackenberg, who I had respect for, sticking with his commitment. If I was in this situation, I would have left. I don't understand how you can commit to a school and know you're not going to play for a bowl game the whole time you're there. But with that said, I think Penn State's going to get worse over time. They should win. They're going to win this game. I think if you put this year's Penn State team against last year's Syracuse team up to play, that last year's Syracuse team wins, but not this year. They lost Ryan Nassib, their head coach, the Buffalo Bill. That shows you how good of a coach he was. Penn State, they'll win this game. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to go 23-14 over Syracuse, but Penn State will get the W. BYU at Virginia. BYU, last couple of years, have had one of the best defenses in the college football. And that's a big statement in all of college football. And they will continue to do so. They produced Ezekiel Ansah this year. They produced Kyle Van Noy this season, one of the best front seven players in all of college football. And Virginia, they're still unsettled on who the quarterback's going to be. Phillip Sims transferred. David Watford's probably going to step in and play. But they don't have enough talent on the offensive side of the ball to outscore BYU. I'm not saying that BYU has a really explosive offense or anything, but by saying outscore them, I don't believe they get more than 14 on BYU, maybe less than that, but I'm going to be generous and give Virginia 14. It'll still be a close game, but I'm going to go BYU 21-14 over Virginia. Northern Illinois at Iowa. Oh, man, this is a tough one to predict. I mean, Jordan Lynch, one of my favorite players in college football. Iowa places James Vandenberg from last season. Kirk Ferentz is still there. Mark Wiseman, the big old running back, still there. White guy, he's still at the running back there. I was almost upset early last season by none other than Northern Illinois. And I think they get revenge, and I think Northern Illinois wins. That's unheard of, really, to see a team play a BCS team or play a team 2 straight years at their stadium. That's weird. Especially FBS level teams, because this will be the 2nd straight year Northern Illinois played at Iowa. But they'll get the win. I think they will. Close, I'll say 27-24 over Iowa in this game. Oh, God, Nicholls State at Oregon. Oh, watch out for the points. Oregon, 65. Nicholls State, 7. It could be worse than that. And, oh, man, guys. Louisiana Lafayette at Arkansas. Oh, man. I kind of want to pull the trigger here and give Louisiana Lafayette the upset, but I'd get so much hate from Arkansas fans. I think I have one of my favorite fans actually on here. It's a big-time Arkansas fan. But remember, when I pick games, it's nothing against the program. It's just my opinion only, and I could be completely proven wrong, and I'll take credit for being proven wrong. But it's just what I think, and that doesn't mean anything, and I hope that doesn't really change your opinion on me. But it's so hard to pull the trigger here, though. Louisiana Lafayette's a Sunbelt team, but they're probably easily the best. Not easily, but the Sunbelt's actually a good conference now. They're not an FBS level conference. A BCS level conference. They're not up there, but they're creeping up, getting better and better. They might be better than this USA now. They really might, talent wise. But they have some good teams in the Sunbelt. They really do, and Louisiana Lafayette's one of them. They can score some points. A very good quarterback, Terrence Broadway, who's actually a transfer from Houston, I believe, or LSU, one of the two. But I can't pull the trigger. They have players all over that offense that can play good, but Arkansas, Brett Bielema, he won't let them lose the first game. I'm not really a fan of Arkansas hiring Brett Bielema. He's a good coach though, but just with the talent they had, just with the hire and the talent that they already have in the team, it's going to take a few years to progress with that offense. He'll be successful over time, but the skill position players he has now in the offense, he has now in the players, the system that they're built for is not near where his system is at now. But it'll take them a while, but they'll win, but close. It won't be another Louisiana Lafayette. I mean, another Louisiana Monroe from last season. It possibly could be, but I don't think it will be. So much talking. 31-27, Arkansas over Louisiana Lafayette. Watch out. But I'm not ready to pull the trigger. NC Central at Duke. Duke will win. They lost Sean Renfree and their star receiver to the NFL, but as long as what's his name, David Cutcliffe is at Duke, there's no way they'll lose to NC Central. They're getting better, they really are. But Duke will win 37-20, 37-21 over NC Central. Oh man, please don't be over 30 minutes. Oh my God, 41 minutes. Wow. I apologize. You guys are gonna have to get used to this. But anyways, let's go. Alabama versus Virginia Tech. Alabama will win this game very easily. I'm not worried about this game as an Alabama fan at all. Virginia Tech will win. I mean, Alabama will win this game by 21 plus. I have a bet with Don V310. Don't know him. He's a TTU representative of Virginia Tech. A hilarious bet, and I don't think he was a fan of it. He thought it was kind of stupid, but I think it's hilarious, and you'll see what it is. If Alabama wins by 21 or more, he has to do the bet, and if it's by 20, none of us have to do it, or neither of us have to do it. And if they lose by less than 20, win by less than 20, have to do the bet. That's how confident I am in Alabama winning this game. I'm gonna go. Man, coming up with scores are so difficult. But Virginia Tech does have a good defense, so I wouldn't say we're gonna score over 40 with our new offensive line. But I'm gonna say 38 to 14 over Virginia Tech, because their offense, they've lost a couple of running backs due to injuries and whatever suspensions or whatever happened to them, but I know they lost a couple of running backs and they don't have the wide receiver threats they used to. The offensive line does bring back a couple of guys. They should be improved. Their offensive line was terrible last season. Their season will be really depends on Logan Thomas, how he was good as a sophomore, terrible as a junior. Well, he's amazing at times. He's maybe the most inconsistent quarterback in college football, because he can look like the best quarterback in like the number one pick in the draft one game or one series. The next game look like he's doing the Mark Sanchez butt fumble play every play. He's the only quarterback I see that can consistently get 4 or 5, 6 yards on a quarterback sneak. That's how physical he is. It's the tool set to be extremely physical, but I don't think he against the Alabama defense, he's going to be so confused, so rattled, and Alabama will have no problem. What did I say? 38 to 14. I'm sticking with that. Eastern Washington at Oregon State. Oregon State's a team that's right up there, a sleeper for the Pac-12, and they could potentially do it. Have some players that can do it, and I have them actually. Do I have them second in the North? I actually do, and I kind of feel not too strongly about that, because Stanford could easily win the national championship and have them third in the Pac-12 North. I kind of feel stupid about that, but that's not really how the team is. It's really how the schedule sets up. That's a big reason. I think Stanford's a better team than Oregon State, but it's just really how the schedule sets up and what teams have to play and win and everything. So that's why that was there. But Oregon State, no problem with EMS, I guess you could say, Eastern Michigan State, or Eastern Washington State. Oregon State will win this game, 37-10 over Eastern Washington. Howard at Eastern Michigan. Don't know what to say. I really don't. But Eastern Michigan's been one of the worst FBS level programs the past couple of years. Consistently the worst team, or one of the worst teams, top 5 or bottom 5 in the FBS level. But I'm gonna go. Anyways, it's Howard. Is it Desmond Howard University? I'm just trolling you guys, but Eastern Michigan. Let's go 21-17 over Howard. I don't know how confident I am there, but Austin Peay at Tennessee. Butch Jones' long-awaited debut as head coach at Tennessee. They named the starter Justin Worley today. They do have talent there. They really do probably have the best offensive line in the SEC, maybe one of the best in the country. But the skill position players just aren't there. If they return the skill position players from last season, they could be a dark horse, but they don't. They lose absolutely everybody from last season. They do bring back a couple of running backs though, but the running backs weren't a big part of the offense last season. Defense is gonna be par average to maybe above average, but Tennessee wins this game. It's Austin Peay. Tennessee will win by 3 touchdowns. Let's go 30. No. It's so hard coming up with scores. Let's go 41 to 10 over Austin Peay. Oh my gosh, how many more games are there to go? I don't want this to go over an hour if that's the last thing that I want. But here we go. Louisiana Monroe at Oklahoma. This game is kind of like the Louisiana Lafayette game. This game is so hard to pull the trigger, but I want to so bad. It feels so right. Like all the things are setting up for Louisiana Monroe to beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma, this might be one of the worst teams they've had in a long time. Lost a ton of guys. It was all expected for Blake Bell to be the starting quarterback at the start of the offseason, and to show he did so bad to get beat up by Trevor Knight. That's saying something. The first game is as the quarterback. I mean, this is gonna be his debut, a freshman, redshirt freshman. Not sure of too much how Oklahoma's gonna do in this game. They're playing at home, but the general Oklahoma fan, Oklahoma just mindset of this game is gonna be like, oh, it's Louisiana Monroe. But this is a team that brings back just about everybody off a team last year that, if they'd have won the first 3 games, which they very easily could have, they could have gone to the BCS Bowl. Definitely could have. Beat Arkansas. They almost beat Auburn because of a Hail Mary at halftime, and the game ends up going into overtime, and Auburn wins barely. They lost to Auburn, and then they lost barely to a Baylor team that beat the #1 team in the country, Kansas State, by 30-something points, and they only beat Louisiana Monroe by, I think it ended up being like 5 points. And Colton Browning is an amazing quarterback. He really is. If he was on an FBS team, he could. I mean, I keep saying FBS team. If he was on a BCS team, he could be a Heisman contender. And he's on the Davey O'Brien watch list as a quarterback for Louisiana Monroe. But it's so hard to pull the trigger because you have skill position players, an upset team, in the right situation, and you got Oklahoma depth. Don't think Oklahoma's gonna, like I said, I think this is gonna be the worst year in a really long time for Oklahoma. But that depth, just overall depth of a team like Oklahoma, I think edges out Louisiana Monroe. They're going to get scared. I think they win by 3 points. We're going to go Oklahoma 34, Louisiana Monroe 31. Washington State at Auburn. This is a really interesting matchup. First game is head coach for Gus Malzahn at Auburn. And I think Auburn, as an Alabama fan, it's hard to say this, but I think they're going to be actually a lot better than they were last year. I don't think it's going to be another Cam Newton route because they have a JUCO quarterback named Marshall who was named the starter, who I've watched some film of, and he's insane. He's fast as lightning, and I saw in their bowl game as a JUCO player last season, on the run, he threw a 75-yard pass in the air, and that's insane with that arm strength. But with just the players they bring back a pretty good chunk of their defense. I have to see how Ellis Johnson can do as defensive coordinator there. But Mike Leach, I believe he'll end up being successful at Washington State, but he just has to have about 4 years to get his own players in there. I know Mike Leach doesn't like to recruit. He's an odd fellow, but he's a heck of a coach. If he can hire the staff to recruit for him and get some guys in there that fits the system, he can be a heck of a coach because he's a heck of a X and O's guy. But Washington State does have the offense to combat Auburn's 4-2-5 defense. I read this big article on that. But Auburn will win this game. I say by 2 touchdowns. I'm gonna go 31. Let's go 31-20. Auburn over Washington State. McNeese State at South Florida. My friend plays for South Florida. I think I've mentioned that 1,000 times now. But Willie Taggart's first game, South Florida. I think it's gonna be a lot better than people think. But they should have no problem with McNeese State. South Florida. 31-10 over McNeese State. The hardest part is thinking of scores. Kentucky versus Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky is another one of those Sun Belt teams which are very dangerous, and they actually beat Kentucky last year. But with Mark Stoops at Kentucky, he's completely changed the mindset of this program. The program has been by far the bottom dweller of the conference. And he's changed that. The recruiting class is ranked top 10 in the country for next season. He's just completely changed that mindset. They should win this game and repay Western Kentucky for last season. I say they win by, let's say by 10 points. It'll be a tough game. Western Kentucky's good now. Bobby Petrino at head coach. It's going to be interesting. But Kentucky will win, I'm going to say 30-20 over Western Kentucky. Gotta speed this up a little bit. Murray State at Missouri. Missouri wins this game by 3 touchdowns, 38-14 over Murray State. Old Dominion at East Carolina. Old Dominion now, they're very interesting. They really are. They have an awesome quarterback, Tyler Heineke, who set so many records and threw for 5,000 yards last year, like 40-something touchdowns. And they have talent. They really are. They might be the third best. They might be better than Navy and Army and be the third best independent team as of right now. They're going to join the CUSA next season. And it sucks. They won't be bowl eligible until the season Tyler Heineke leaves. Heineke. But they're going to be dangerous these first couple of years. But I'm not sure if they can beat East Carolina. I'm going to go East Carolina. It's going to be a high-scoring game. They're going to put up some points. They do have some good players in defense. But I'm going to go 48-44. East Carolina over Old Dominion. Idaho at North Texas. North Texas is getting better. They really do. They have some good players now. They were bad, very bad last couple of seasons. Well, not last season. They weren't terrible, but they were atrocious the years before that. Idaho couldn't even make another conference, so they had to go independent because the WAC dissolved as a football conference. But North Texas, I believe, will win by 2 touchdowns, 28-14 over Idaho. Miami, Ohio at Marshall. Miami, Ohio is going to have a big drop-off from last season. They had Zach Dyser, the quarterback, who got drafted. But they lost a lot of guys from last season. Marshall has an extremely high-powered offense led by Rakeem Cato. He's a very, very good quarterback. But I think Marshall's defense is not going to be good, but their offense can be really good. And the quarterback situation is going to be the difference, and Marshall will win by 2 touchdowns also. I'm going to say 42-28 Marshall over Miami, Ohio. Arkansas Pine Bluff at Arkansas State. Arkansas State will win this game by 30 points. Let me tell you why. I say 40-10. So Arkansas State, after researching all these Sun Belt teams, Arkansas State, before I did in-depth research, I have them in my Sun Belt preview in the non-BCS preview video, 4th place in the division, but they are a heck of a program, and they could go very, very far, win the Sun Belt. There's another one of those really good teams, but they'll win 40-10. Texas State at Southern Miss. Southern Miss could be the most improved team from last season. It's so hard to say this. They were 0-12 last season, but they weren't extremely bad. They were 0-12, but they weren't. I know it's hard to understand, but they weren't that bad. And they'll be a lot better this season. And they'll beat Texas State 31-20 over Texas State. UAB at Troy. Let me try to speed this up. UAB at Troy. Troy will win this game quite easily over in-state rival. UAB 34-24. Wofford at Baylor. Baylor could score 1,000 if they wanted to. Baylor, Bryce Petty, that offense. Lachey Seastrunk 49-14 over Wofford. Now here we go. Georgia against Clemson in Death Valley. Georgia, if they played Georgia and Clemson played the last week of the season, I'd have Georgia winning by about 10 points. But now Georgia's first game, their offense should be very good. Even though I don't understand I know Aaron Murray's a great quarterback, but I don't understand why he's voted over Johnny Manziel and A.J. McCarron, who's won 2 straight national championships, and the Heisman winner. He's a guy who hasn't won anything. Hasn't even made it to, if I'm not mistaken, he hasn't made it to a BCS Bowl yet. And he's voted over a Heisman winner and a 2-time national championship winner in A.J. McCarron and Johnny Manziel. I don't understand all that. Their defense, they lose a ton of guys off the defense last season. Alec Ogletree, Jarvis Jones, you can go on and on and on. Bakari Rambo. And because of that reason, Clemson has such a high-powered offense. They're gonna catch them off guard week 1. I know Georgia's gonna be ready, but they're not gonna be ready for that Clemson offense. Clemson's offense is for real. I'm not sure if I buy the Clemson National Championship hype, but I buy their offense hype because their offense is gonna be very good, and this is gonna be a really high-scoring game for an SEC team and an ACC team. I'm gonna go Clemson 38, Georgia 34. Okay. New Mexico State at Texas. Texas will win this game. Easy. This is a make-or-break year for Mac Brown, and I think he'll get it done. Texas. Let's go Texas 34. Texas 34, New Mexico State 10. No, let's go. No. Texas 34, New Mexico State 7. That's a big difference. But Wyoming at Nebraska. Nebraska has actually a really, really good offense this year. Their defense is more of a question than their offense, but they shouldn't have any problem with a team like Wyoming. Nebraska will win this game quite easily. Let's go 44-10. No, 44-17 over Wyoming. Eastern Illinois at San Diego State. San Diego State's actually a team that can compete for the Mountain West Conference this year, but they should have no problem with Eastern Illinois. I know I've said that a ton of times, but San Diego State 27, Eastern Illinois 10. Northern Iowa at Iowa State. Northern Iowa is a team that's been competitive in games the last couple of years. They almost beat Wisconsin last year, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but I don't think they almost beat Wisconsin last season. Iowa State, we'll see how they can do this season. Big Ten program. Bring back the quarterback from last season. Actually bring back a pretty good bit of talent. But I do think they're going to be the bottom dweller of the Big 12 this season, but that doesn't really compact for loss against Northern Iowa. They should win 31-14 over Northern Iowa. UTSA at New Mexico. New Mexico running that triple option. They should win. Wow. Texas San Antonio should win this game, even though it's at New Mexico. Kevin Zoza is actually a good quarterback. He really is. He doesn't give any credit. Never heard anybody talking about him, but he is a good quarterback. Puts up some pretty good stats. Texas San Antonio close, 31-28 over New Mexico. And a couple more pretty close games here. I think I'm over an hour now. I'm close. I guess this is going to be long. I have a lot. Well, it's probably longer this week because I have a lot to talk about. Here we go. LSU at TCU. And talking about the Georgia hype earlier, I'm not sold on the LSU hype at all. I know a lot of people aren't talking about them, but then I heard Desmond Howard today predicted them to win the national championship. I'm not buying that. I'm buying this to be LSU's worst season in the last 5 years. And maybe the worst season out of the last decade. They're going to be talented, but there's a time when experience overrides talent. And LSU loses so many defenders that I lost count to the NFL draft. Or not counting the seniors, counting guys that just declared. And they got to replace so many players, so many. They lost their running back from last season. Jeremy Hill might be suspended for this game. Not sure about his status for that. Zach Mettenberger is coming back, but I don't think he is such a great quarterback that it makes such a big deal that he's coming back. I really don't. They do have Jarvis Landry's a good receiver on the outside, but outside of that, who do they have? I'm not sold out on them at all. I'm sure their defense will be good, but not excellent like it's been in the years past. And their great defense was exposed against Clemson last season in the bowl game. And you take out all those guys and bring in a lot of inexperienced guys. What can you tell me there? So I'm not sold on LSU at all. And TCU is going to be a dark horse for the Big 12 this season. I know I've said that word a lot this video, but they are. They bring back Casey Paul, who's probably going to be the best quarterback in the Big 12. That's not saying a lot because it's crazy because 5 years ago, Big 12 is the conference that has all the quarterbacks, the best quarterbacks in the country, putting up in video game-like stats. But now they're not good at all. Don't have any really good quarterbacks. But anyways, he's still a good quarterback. Some pretty good wide receivers. Their defense wasn't what you really expected out of Gary Patterson last season, but that should change this season. They have Devontae Fields, who might be one of the best defenders in all of college football. defense overall should be good. And this is another game. I think I'm going to pull the trigger. I think I am. And all my friends called me absolutely insane for this. I don't know why. But I think TCU wins. I think they do. I'm going to say 27-24 over LSU. I told my friends, don't be surprised if LSU wins by less than 7. And I'm having enough faith to pull that upset, TCU over LSU. Okay, Boise State at Washington. I think Washington has enough. I don't think Boise State brings back enough. I've never been a real fan of Joe Southwick at quarterback. They have a guy that's second string now. I can't think of his name. He's pretty much reminiscent of Kellen Moore. He's like the same size. I'm not sure if he's left-handed or not. I don't know how good he is. I just know he's that tall. But I thought that was interesting. But I'm not sure if Boise State has enough to beat a team like Washington. I know they knocked off Washington before. And Washington brings back Keith Price. He seems like he's been there forever. He's a senior. They have some talented players. One of the best tight ends, if not the best tight end in all of college football there at Washington. Washington gets the W. Very close. 30-27 over Boise State. Nevada at UCLA. Got to try to finish this up really quick. I got to wake up at 4 in the morning to work out. Ugh. God. Nevada at UCLA. Nevada can put up some points. Cody Fajardo is a good quarterback. And they have some good running backs there. Defense is not good. UCLA's offense, led by Brett Hundley, is going to be good. Very, very good. And I think UCLA's offense, that's very, very good, will definitely outscore Nevada's offense, which is very good. With that said, UCLA will win this game by 17 points. I'll go 44-27. UCLA over Nevada. Northwestern at Cal. This could be a tricky game. Cal's not good as they used to be, but I mean it can be a competitive game when you got a Big Ten team and a Pac-12 team going at it. Northwestern. I know I've said the word dark horse 1,000 times. I said the meaning, but I believe Northwestern could be a dark horse, actually win the Big Ten with a higher possibility than the 5% that I mentioned earlier. They have one of the best. I know I was called crazy for saying the best, but I'll help you out there and say one of the best running back quarterback tandems in all of college football. Vinrick Mark and Kane Coulter. Very, very talented duo there. Cal, it's going to be a process. New head coach coming over from Louisiana Tech. Not good last season. I believe they have a freshman starting at quarterback. And it's at Cal, which is never filled up, so it's not necessarily the best home field environment. But I got Northwestern winning by 17 points, 37-20 over Cal. That's all Saturday's games. Only 3 games left to go. Ohio at Louisville. You might call me crazy. You really might. And I know I have preseason. I have Louisville predicted to win the national championship. Not to win the national championship, but to get to the national championship. As I'm actually losing to Alabama. But I think this game might be one of the toughest, if not the toughest, game of the season for Louisville. Have Ohio only losing this game by like 10 points. And the bad thing about that for Louisville is that everybody's going to question them. Oh, wow. Louisville's not near as good as expected them to be. And that could be bad because that could drop them in the polls. And they take them a while to go back up because their schedule's so weak. And that's not saying much that Ohio might be the toughest game, if not one of the toughest games in their schedule, because their schedules, I hate to say it, but it's not good at all. But they have really good quarterback, Ohio does. Tyler Tettleton. Ohio was a team that was creeping up there and potentially going to be a BCS buster last season, but they got beat late by I can't remember who. But they have talent, they do. Ohio's very good, but Louisville playing at home, Teddy Bridgewater, that team. I think all the hype surrounding them, they're such a mature team though. There's no way. I think I take that back. I don't think they lose by 10. I don't think they win by 10. Let's bump it up to 14. I'm going to go 34-20 Louisville over Ohio. Ohio's dangerous, but Louisville will win. Okay, Colorado versus Colorado State. I know Colorado State's a Mountain West Conference team versus Colorado, which is a Pac-12 team, but Colorado, I kind of shy away from saying this, but even as a Pac-12 member, Colorado might be the worst team in college football. That's how bad they are. I don't know why. What's happened to them? Moving to the Pac-12 was one of the worst decisions they've ever made as a program. But Colorado State should beat them. Colorado State has a good tandem of running backs. Former offensive coordinator from Alabama, Jim McElwain, is there as head coach, and Colorado State's moving on up there. And this is a rivalry game, and I believe Colorado State wins this game. The tandem of running backs, a quarterback that manages the game, a solid defense. They should win this game 30-20 over Colorado. And here we go, guys. I don't know why is this taking me an hour to do this? I don't understand. But last game, September 2nd, Monday, Labor Day. I'll be off from school, thank God, and I'm off on Tuesdays as well. So I'll have a 4-day weekend next weekend. So that's what I want to get through this week. With that said, though, Florida State at Pittsburgh, number 11. Let's try to make this kind of quick. Pittsburgh, they're not going to be bad, but the ACC is so consistent now. They don't have the best teams in the country, but they have a bunch of decent teams that if you want to compete, you got to be right up there with them. And I think Pittsburgh is close, but they're not there yet, which might, unfortunately, lead to them having a pretty bad year. But they're not a bad team. The ACC as a whole, give credit to them. In past years, they've not been really taken real seriously, but with the emergence of Clemson and Florida State, which seems to annually be some of the best teams in the country, top 15, that's really helped the rest of the conference kind of even out. And you have teams like North Carolina, which are really good. Miami's getting better. North Carolina State had the big upset last season against Florida State, which helped them gain some recognition nationally. Duke's made a bowl game last season. Boston College has dropped off, but are getting better. Wake Forest is only like 5 seasons removed from winning the ACC. And Virginia Tech also, who's always competitive. But, so I think Pitt's a couple years away. So, anyways, I think Florida State could struggle. First game, Jameis Winston, I think he's going to be successful over time, but I think he could struggle early on, especially in the national spotlight, primetime game on a Monday night. So, it could be a struggle for Florida State, but they should win. They have a really good defense, great depth. Over the last couple of years, they've built that depth up. Jimbo Fisher and his staff's done a great job at bringing in highly talented guys. And they haven't really put it together yet. They tend to play to the level of their opponents, and that's not a good thing. I don't know why they have such a great amount of talent. They haven't just been able to put that one season together. And I think it's going to be hard for an ACC team. Like I said, they are all pretty much even. I think Florida State and Clemson are a step ahead of everybody else, but I don't think they're up there yet. Maybe it's the rest of the conference bringing them down. But with that said, Florida State will win this game. I think it'll be a kind of odd scoring game. I'm going to go 24-13, Florida State over Pitt. So after an hour, guys, I'm going to be getting like 6 hours of sleep tonight. Wow. But anyways, guys, I will catch you later. Have a great day. Roll Tide, go Sox, and go Titans to you. I'm ready for the football season. And I guess an hour and 8 minutes of talking really, lets you know that I'm ready for the college football season. So have a great day, guys. As always, Roll Tide, go Sox, and go Titans to you. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Leave a like. I remember last season on all these videos I did, they normally didn't get much attention. So let's try to change that. Let's try to show that you appreciate my hour of effort here, my hour of football knowledge, and leave a like. Let's shoot for 20 likes on these videos. I doubt they'll get that, but try to prove me wrong. Leave a like, and I'll catch you guys later. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/S3RTR, to follow me and check out my other ways to connect with me on social media in the description below. Catch you guys later, and have a great day.